So this is how I escaped the 9 to 5. Um, I'm going to be driving, so I won't be looking at the camera, but I will be just talking while I'm driving. I'm heading to the airport, delivering one of my vehicles. But yes, the 9 to 5 rat race. Yes. So I'm kind of new to this entrepreneurial lifestyle. Um, I haven't worked a 9 to 5 in a few years. I separated from the military in 2021, and ever since then, I haven't had a job, and I've been doing all kinds of side gigs and running a business, and um, so it all started with reading a couple books that changed my mindset on money and how to approach money and altering my mindset. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey um, was the first book that kind of pivoted my way of thinking. I think it is ideal. The less things that's taking away from what you make, your money, your income, monthly income, the less things that's taken away from that, the more you can contribute it towards things that make you more money. And I feel like being debt free uh, is optimal for that approach. So I was in a good amount of debt, and on my first deployment, I kind of doubled down on paying off my debts. And when I became debt free, I was like, man, what's next? So I had an emergency fund about 6 months, debt free, and uh, now I don't know what to do with money. Now this is the phase where I'm like, man, I really want to challenge myself to build wealth. So then I stumbled across a person. His name is Mike. He was a colonel in the Air Force, and I told him I was just needed some guidance, and he told me to read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and that was kind of counterproductive with the first book, because one is saying be debt free and build wealth in a more consistent, slow compound longevity over time uh, way of building wealth. Robert Kiyosaki's way is having leveraging debt to build wealth, to accumulate wealth and build wealth. And but what really resonated with me from that book was passive income. Passive income is active income is where you trade time for money. Essentially, that's the 9 to 5, right? So if you work um, for 1 hour and you're working for $20, you're trading that 1 hour for $20. And typically you work 40 hours a week. Um, but for passive income, you create a system, and once that system's created, you're making money passively. So if you do something one time and then it's making you money while you 24/7 in a day, while you sleep, or while you doing whatever you want, you're still getting paid. And to me, that's a more optimal way of making money. So yeah, when I was in the military, I did appreciate a lot of the things about the military, the brotherhood, the ability to, the opportunity to travel, learn new skill sets, and having a profession. But on the flip side, I did not find full fulfillment on it. I was actually depressed. I remember the days were long. I remember going in, and I remember before starting work, I'd get there early. I'd be in the parking lot, just sitting in dread, and just praying and like, man, please, Lord, help me get through this day. I'd be like panicking in my car before I started my shift, and yeah, I as soon as I got out and started this new way of life, this passive income lifestyle, my mental health I noticed has improved. I've been sleeping a lot better and having more time to focus on health, spirituality, my relationship with God, my family, and I love it. But if a normal person like me who came from nothing can do it, I know anyone can do it, you know. But yeah, so I read the book. Back to the story, kind of elaborating a little too much off subject. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that introduced a new aspect of money, passive income. So I didn't I didn't know where to start. Right, the idea is cool, but like, whoa, where do I start? So when I finished my deployment, I uh, I took on another mission and started a full time gig at a base called Randolph, Randolph Air Force Base. And when I was at work one day, one of my coworkers, a tech sergeant, was like, "Hey, I got to go drop off my car during her lunch, right?" And I was like, "Why you gotta drop off your car? That's weird. How are you gonna get back to work if you're dropping off your car?" And she was like, "Oh, I do this thing called Toro. It's where you share and rent out your car. You get paid for it." I and she was explaining it, and she was basically doing it just so the car pays for itself. So it covers her car note and insurance. And that put a light bulb in my head. I got an immediate light bulb. I was like, "What? Dang!" Because initially, when I did the passive income, my first start was my first approach was real estate. Get a bunch of real estate, 5, 10 houses, and play Monopoly, real life Monopoly, right? With Airbnb or regular tenants. But for a regular Joe Schmo like me, how am I going to accumulate, assets that big without going into debt, getting all those loans? And remember, I told you I love the Dave Ramsey approach, debt free, but I also love the Robert Kiyosaki approach. So I kind of mixed the two and became a hybrid of both. So basically, be debt free, but also start a business where you pay for it and you're making passive income. So when I ran into my tech sergeant, she gave me the idea. I'm like, man, cars are a lot cheaper than houses. It might be a lot easier to own, to pay for. So I asked for the information, and she told me she utilized the platform Toro to rent out her cars. I did my due diligence, and sure enough, I started. I went to go buy my first car. It was a Ford Focus, 2012, and I paid about 8 grand, and it had about 70,000 ish miles. And I started. I paid cash, and it was making good, decent money. I made that the 8 grand I spent on that car. I made it back within 10 months. So, and then I ended up keeping the car for about 3 to 4 years. So, all of it was a big ROI minus maintenance and gas and insurance. So I was like, man, that's awesome. I want more, accumulating more assets. So then I went to, I'm shopping for more cars, and I find this ad on Craigslist for this Honda Civic. So I was like, man, okay, I'm gonna purchase my second asset. I go, and then I talked to this guy. His name's Milton. I told him I was in the military, and I told him my goals in life. And he's like, you know what? I like you as a person. I'm going to help you out. So um, he gave me his credentials as a dealership to buy cars from auctions. So I was like, man, because all these cars, there's always a middleman, and dealerships, used cars, the dealerships are the middleman. So, because that's one thing with Toro, and having a car as an asset, anything with a motor constantly depreciates, and there's heavy wear and tear on the car, right? So to me, it's not really ideal to, especially for a regular person, middle class person, or person who doesn't have money, to finance a car, brand new car, and put it on Toro as a business model. I don't recommend it. I don't see for your regular person, right? If you have the money to pay for the cash, I could see that, but for your regular person, no, because when you get a brand new car, zero miles, as soon as you drive it off the lot, it loses immediate value. The average is 15 to 30% of its value immediately drops, and then within 2 to 4 years, loses half its value. So initially, let's say you pull out 40 grand on a car and you keep it on Toro, you basically lost within 2 to 4 years 20 grand immediately. And you're still paying on the car, and you have an interest rate, so you're paying more than its value. You have a loan, you're tied into a loan that's not even equivalent to the value of the car anymore after years has gone by. That's a losing bet. And that's why I was like, I wasn't really sold on Toro yet until I had the opportunity to bid at auctions. Because at auctions, I'm cutting the middleman out. I'm not paying for regular market value, what regular consumers are paying. I'm paying way under value, outbeating depreciation, and I'm getting a big ROI on the car from Toro. And then by the time I'm done with the car, I sell it for more than I buy it. So to me, it's limiting a lot of the risk. So yeah, I met this guy. We became real good friends, and I was buying cars real cheap. So with that opportunity at hand, I got up to 9 cars at one point, and I was making more than I was in the military, right? So I started Toro in 2017, right? And I was testing the waters with this business model, and sure enough, I was like, man, I really think I could pull this off. And I've through my journey, I can elaborate more in a different video, but I've met three different mentors who do it at a high level. They got 20 to 40 cars in different markets, and they're making a quarter mil every year. Um, so yeah, I ran into Milton, and that's what started. And then ever since then, I've been doing that. And then eventually, I gone on a couple missions to where I had to pause my business. So there was a little hiccup and obstacles in my business. But now I finally separated in 2021, and now I'm doing it full time to where I'm doing Toro, and now I do side gigs as well on the side because I have so much free time and flexibility. I'm doing the side gigs to make extra more money so I can accumulate more assets, more cars, and I'm gonna get to. My goal is to get to 10 to 15 cars. It's way more than enough, um, and it's helping me live well within my means. I'm debt free. I'm getting all this money, and I'm thinking to have more free time to think of more ways to make more passive income. And I'm not turning back. I have way more fulfillment than the 905 life, and my mental health has improved. My health has improved. I have more time with family, and I really, I think I can really, I think I can become a millionaire within 5 to 10 years. It's within my reach, in my reality, and I've manifested, prayed, and set this goal 5 to 10 years ago, and here I am now. And I can't believe. Sometimes I can't believe I did it. But now I'm setting the bar higher, and I know I'm going to manifest the what I what I say and think in the next 5 to 10 years. And I'm just thankful for all the people I've met, the experience I've experienced, mentors in my life, the failures I've been through. It's all the learning curves I've hit, and I'm going to continue to keep going. And um, but those who are, you know, you're not fulfilled in your life. So this is this scary statistic. I was reading somewhere a study showed that 9 out of 10 people hate what they do for a living. And for me, to me, if you're doing something that you don't like, just for an exchange of money, it's not a good quality life, you know. So you're telling me you're doing something you don't like for 8 hours of the day, 5 times of the week, for 20 to 40 years. They say you work from, let's say, 18 all the way up to retirement age is 65, and then average life expectancy is about 72. So you're telling me majority of your life you spend doing something you don't like, and then you have 10 years of freedom afterwards, after retirement? Like, I don't think that's a good quality of life. I rather find something that gives you fulfillment, and um, monetize that. Create a system where you have more free times to do whatever you want. Even if you don't know what you want to do in life, I would start with being debt free and then finding a way to make passive income. So that way you have more free time to figure out what you want to do. and it gives you more options. And that's why I'm very thankful to where I am now, because I have more clarity and I know what I want because of the luxury of having more time to think about it. But yeah, that's just some. It's not really a detailed story. I left a lot of things out, but that is how I escaped the 9 to 5, and I'm not looking back, man. Uh, but yeah, so if you want to escape the 9 to 5, like I recommend being debt free, having 6 months emergency fund, and then that gives you some leeway to puts you more in a comfortable position to where you're not in financial pressure, since you don't have a big financial overhead of having to pay for all these bills, and you have a cushion that will for emergencies. And then once you get to that point, start dabbling into something that makes you money passively, or even a business you enjoy. It doesn't necessarily have to be passive income, but start from there, and then you'll gauge and eventually find out what suits you, what's your preferences, and I guarantee the quality of your life will skyrocket. Thanks for tuning in. I am going to make more videos like this. Um, I do want to help as much as I can get to the life of fulfillment. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hope y'all have a great day. Bye.